All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast brought to you by the Queen Tackle. Great folks at Queen Tackle, I should say. It's been a minute since we've done an episode here, Andrew, but obviously I am your host, Bailey Egbert, and joined with me is the captain, Mr. Andrew Full.
What's up, buddy?
I think I'm still all jacked up from those
Pony
smallmouth
boy.
yesterday.
Pony
Yeah.
boy. What up, pony boy?
those Lake Erie smallmouth jacked up still.
Dude, for not being out there for 2.5 months yesterday was fun.
It was. You say 2.5 months, dude, and it's been like 8 for me.
Yeah, I feel it's probably actually been closer to like a month and a half too, but it's been a while. So
it was a long time. It was last November was the last time I was out there, and basically since last November we left them chewing for the most part. Yesterday was a lot of fun. Andrew and I went out on Lake Erie, where obviously he guides, and it actually took us probably maybe 2 hours to get back on him. But once we found him, it was almost every other drop, which was pretty fun. Some big old summer smallies, and we had one I caught that was 588, almost touched 6. We had almost 22 at the end of the day.
Yeah, 21.7 is what we ended with, and I think we did more graphing than we did fishing. But when we fished, we caught them good. So it's like, oh, there's a pot of 4. Let's drop on them real fast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did some filming, so you guys will have some Lake Erie episodes. We got a few people joining in right now. Yeah, we got Baitman joining in on his way to work. We did a couple episodes yesterday while we were out fishing. We got a couple drop shot videos coming out. One where Andy kind of dives into dropping on smallmouth and how it seems like a simple concept, but actually when you learn how to do it, it can be kind of challenging. So he kind of did a whole step-by-step process of dropping on smallmouth, what you want to see on the graph, and kind of see what those fish are positioned and know that they're fish that are going to commit. That those are catchable fish. And then obviously we just did a fun fishing video where we have a couple surprise guests, a couple spot poachers that join us on the video. We probably had like 3 people that were just total jerk-offs yesterday. We had one guy that literally we saw half a mile away and just measle his way on over to like 20, 30 yards in front of us.
Literally sat on the rock pile that we were catching him on.
We had to push off of it because he's getting too close. So we caught 20 pounds under his boat. And then we had, one guy cut us off while graphing like 10 yards away. You had to put in reverse because we thought we were going to get hit. Wasn't even paying attention. And then
he flipped me off as he went by.
Yeah. It was interesting. The weekends are interesting here in New York on the Great Lake. Well, really for any lakes. But kind of in stride with some of the video content coming out. We have a kayak tournament coming out, video coming out tomorrow. This will be an interesting episode tonight, Andrew, because I cannot speak for the life of me. It has been a long day of work.
Talking too much?
Yeah, literally meeting after meeting, but we're going to do our best. Hopefully I don't sound like too much of a dummy. I know I sound like a dummy, but hopefully not too much like a dummy.
Pony boy.
But, last but not least, before we get our guest down here, Mr. DAROLD GLEASON, who we're very excited about getting on the show tonight, I have a small little story, which is a shout out to Hobie Eyewear, because last week at the Bassmaster Open on Oneida, was it last week?
Yeah.
It was last week,
no,
right?
it was like,
it was
like
2
a
weeks
week and a half ago. Yeah, week and a half ago or so.
Time's all molding together. I was flying down the lake on day 1, and basically my hat was too loose, and I had it on backwards. And apparently somehow, I don't know how it happened, but like I had like one of the arms of the glasses must have been folded over my hat. But we were flying on the lake. My hat was a little too loose, so I went to take my hat off so that my hat didn't fly off my head. Well, essentially what happened, I took my hat off, and my shades went flying behind the boat, and we were already going 70, and I was like, well, there's no purpose. And there's no purpose in even saying anything. Thankfully, it was an overcast day, so I didn't need them. And the Hobies do float, but with how fast we're going and with, what was behind us on multiple boats, it wasn't even worth even saying anything to the guy. I was just like, well, it is what it is. It's my fault. But I called up the folks at Hobie Eyewear. They're like, yeah, dude, we'll send you a new pair. So huge shout out to the folks at Hobie Eyewear. Just the customer service is off the charts. So we appreciate that. It means a lot to us when we work with them, because when we have people coming to us telling us about their customer service. That's a good partnership to have. And if you guys are looking to get 20% off, we do have a link down in the description. You guys can go get some money off of your next shades. We got a couple more people joining us tonight. /pro. Always good to see you in the comments. Aaron says, y'all need me in a boat. You're only going to get oh, boy.
Yeah, it sounds like fighting words to me.
It sounds like some fighting words. But I think last but without further ado, I think we should get him on here.
Absolutely.
DAROLD GLEASON. How are we doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How are y'all doing, man? Excited to be on here with you guys.
We appreciate you joining us tonight for this awesome Monday we're having. So
yeah, I see in your comments there, Aaron, talking about they only get close once. He's a Toledo Bend boy, so I know what he's talking about. He means it. They would only get away with it one time. Next time they would keep on going.
Fair enough.
Have you witnessed it, or were you the one that only?
Oh, no. Once? I hadn't been on the receiving end of it from him, but I know Aaron well enough to know he don't play that stuff, So, it's not just a New York thing. That's a worldwide thing. People not getting all the etiquette stuff. So,
I completely understand that. I kind of see, we posted on our social, and a lot of people message us saying with similar stories, and it's an unfortunate thing to see, but. Obviously we're pretty glad to get you on the show tonight. One, to pick your brain. Two, so that we have somebody that can speak so I can shut up and people don't have to listen to me anymore, because I suck tonight so far. But one thing I wanted to pick your brain about, so on this topic of dealing with spot poachers or folks that don't have great etiquette, you as someone who's been in the industry for a while, being a guide, being a professional angler, how do you deal with folks like that?
Man, like through my guide career and now in the tournaments, like I've actually been on both sides of that. I've been accused of being a poacher, like a guy sees you fishing somewhere and because he caught one there 8 years ago, he thinks you learned it because of him. And then I've been on the other end of it where I have a school that I haven't seen a boat on in 3-4 months. And, I catch a big school, like me and my wife won a tournament with a big stringer. And then next weekend, all of a sudden the guy's there and so I've been on both ends of it. I would tell you what I've learned from that is generally most people that are doing that stuff probably don't know. I would say a small percentage are just buttholes, okay? But a lot of them, they're just not educated. They don't understand they're being rude, So generally, like you guys on Erie, you got enough spots to go to. I've kind of got to the point now where I'm getting soft, I guess. I mean, I might just move on. Most of the time they're not going to catch your fish anyway. So either move on or try, like on the Elite Series or, like last year I fished the pro circuit over on the MLF side, with other anglers, you kind of see them as your peer group. I generally, I kind of take the Terry Scroggins approach. So are we fishing here today together or am I fishing here by myself tomorrow? That was something he's always said. And what he means by that is can we work this out? We both found the same fish. Let's kind of work together. And that stuff only happens at the Tennessee River Lakes, places like that. That's where it's really popular, where you just got to share areas. So like last year, the pro circuit at Chickamauga, that's when the MLF boys joined us and all that. So 200 boats at Chickamauga, I think in mid-May, early June. Dude, it was like a bloodbath out there. There's 12 schools of fish and you got 200 guys. So but for the most part, everybody, I think as long as most guys are respectful, hey, you mind if I fish here with you, or how can I work it out with you? I personally have got to the point now where it's just part of it, man. It is. We all have the same electronics. We all want to catch fish, and your boat number shouldn't determine your outcome of a tournament, right? I mean, that's kind of a toss up. So, I've dealt with it all, dude, but you just try to roll with it. And like I said, I've been on both ends of it. And it's just something we all got to deal with. There's more people fishing now than ever, and there's not that many new lakes being built. So it's something we just got to all learn to deal with and do a better job of. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think this is something that Andrew and I have talked about numerous times on the show. Is it's okay to be around people as long as there's a good foundation of communication.
Say good morning, say good morning, and I'm cool.
Yeah,
simple hello.
You kind of know when the guy pulls in, throws his trolling motor down, and he's within a cast of you or whatever, and never makes eye contact or, and I dealt with a little of that this year. I had a few guys on the Elite Series. I don't know, maybe just testing the waters to see how crazy I am. I don't know, but just not even acknowledge your existence. And I'm just sitting there like I wouldn't do that. I would at least pull in, hey bud, am I good here or whatever? And I did that. There's several anglers that would tell you. I pulled in and would say, hey, like, am I cool over here? Or like, how can I go? Or you going that way? Like, but you say it best, you just communicate. I don't know why grown men can't just, kind of speak to each other and not have to go through all the other crazy stuff. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. And that's one thing that, Andrew and I like to try to highlight. If we have a situation like that on the water and we're filming, we love to put that in there because education is the biggest thing in this industry. That's one thing to spread around is, when you're on the water and be like, hey man, do you care if I go down this bank that way or something, whatever the situation may be. It's good to highlight that because maybe, like you said, the majority of people probably just don't even know. And just that simple concept can change their perspective moving forward.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's like, you don't want to have like confrontations every time you go in the water. We're doing this because we all love it. But like, especially around here in like East Texas, Louisiana area, like it's the high school fishing, college fishing, all that's so popular. So you have really young guys and sometimes their captains aren't super experienced in tournaments. So it's just easy just to communicate. Just, hey man, are you going down this bank? If they say, yeah, hey, do you mind if I go behind you? I want to fish over here. Or can I go 400 yards up? Like, just talk it out generally. And if my advice is the guys being belligerent or butthole, whatever, I would just try to move on if I could. Obviously, sometimes in term situation, you may have to stand your ground a little bit. But like you said, it's all about communication. Just like what we're doing here. Hopefully, one person sees that and thinks, okay, so next time I want to fish an area, maybe I should just politely ask the guy. And you may have a total different outcome, So it's easy stuff.
Yeah, simple hello or good morning goes a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long ways.
For sure. Well, Darold, I apologize because we're 12 minutes into the show right now, and I simply, for one, haven't given you the opportunity to one, introduce yourself to folks who may, for some reason, not know who you are, and also kind of give us a little story behind how the heck you even got started bass fishing in the first place.
So I'm from Louisiana. I've lived like an hour from Toledo Bend my whole life. Really didn't get to fish here a whole lot as a kid. We didn't have a boat or anything like that. But like my dad, my uncles, all my family, we would, we'd fish creeks for brim and ponds and stuff like that. And like I got my first taste with a bass whenever I was reeling in a little perch, a little brim, and like a 5-pounder ate it. And of course I had like a Zepco 33, it strips it out. And I like wrapped it around my hand somehow, knew how to do it. I think I was maybe 7. I like run up the bank with it, and my dad joked that by the time I got the hook out of the fish, it had ticks on it for me running through the field, like dragging it on the shore. So that's like the bass bug hit me like at an early age. That's all I want to do is ride my bike. Like I remember being 13 years old and riding my bike 3 miles away on a Saturday, fish a pond all day. And my dad had to come pick me up in the dark because my mom was worried about me driving home, like after dark. So that's really like how I got my start in fishing. I really didn't get to start fishing Toledo Bend and like getting into tournaments until I started dating my now wife. Her family has a place here on the lake. And when we were in college, I think that was their way to like lure me in and make sure I married her. Was like every weekend we'd come up from college and come out here and hang out with them lake. And her dad really gave me an opportunity to like get me out in the boat, get me on the water. And he was just kind of getting into tournaments then, like doing like the big bass tournaments and some of the BFLs and team tournaments. And so, he kind of gave me my like little taste of the tournament thing, being on the lake and all that. And that's all I needed was a taste. So like got out of college, I fished 2 small tournaments as a co-angler, bought a boat the next week, got my butt kicked for like 2 years and still get my butt kicked plenty. But like, I just love fishing tournaments, love learning more about, about fishing in general. And like now that I'm out on the Elite Series, getting to travel around, like I'm loving the challenge, not just trying to beat those guys, but trying to figure out a new lake, like all these new scenarios. And this year we had a lot of scenarios that were pretty wild. So, like love that. Love living here on Toledo Bend. When I'm not on the trail, I guide here on Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. Sam Rayburn's an hour away. So there's always a tournament to fish at one of these 2 lakes or guide trips to be had. So just a junkie, man. Love it. Like I was telling you guys earlier before we started, I listen to all y'all's podcasts, all the other podcasts, as we're traveling around and even in my boat, it's just fishing all the time, just love it, dude.
Heck yeah. Well, talk to us a little bit about your introduction into tournament fishing in general. Like how did you get introduced to it? And then the timeline to obviously where you're at now.
Yeah. So it was probably, like I was in college 2000 to 2004. And so me and my father-in-law fished some of the Sealy big bass tournaments here on Toledo Bend and Rayburn, real popular. That kind of got my taste. We fished a few team tournaments here and there, things like that. And then when I got out of college, I joined a local bass club. So I'm like kind of an old school guy. You know, I didn't get to come up the college route. The college stuff started just after I got out. So I fished a bass club. I think I fished that club for like 5-6 years, 4 or 5 years maybe. Great group of guys, like really helped me a ton. Like Tommy Brooks, who's much older than me. He's retired now, lives on the lake as well. Like really would like put me in the back of his boat, let me be his co-angler, and learned a ton from him. But all the guys in my club, you know, like we made the state championship a few years and were able to have some success and win that and stuff. So that's like kind of how I like learned and kind of built up my confidence. And so I would say about 06, 07, I started doing like the BFLs and like the ABA weekend series, you know, like the individual trails. And all along, like Toledo Bend and Rayburn, dude, you can do a team tournament every Saturday, every Sunday. You can get in 3 of them if you want to each day. Like it's nuts here. So I done all that stuff, dude, and just kind of built up from there. I started doing the opens in 2010, and like with every other step in my career, like I would step out sooner than I probably should have. And what I mean by that is like I would go to the next level probably when I shouldn't have. It was, you know, it worked for me. Like I kind of learned through butt whoopings. Okay. Like I felt like putting yourself in situations where you're fishing with people who are better than you, it's going to make you better. And that's something I do see now that goes on. Like there's so many tournament trails that goes on. It almost like guys cherry pick which one they can be successful in instead of trying to just be successful in all of them, which is not easy. It's hard. And like, the dudes around here that fish locally will train you up in a heartbeat with the butt whoopings. Like great anglers, dude. So I started fishing the opens in 2010, like I said. And, you know, of course, done the Toyota series as well, off and on, Costa series, whatever it's been called all those times. And I'm doing all that. And in about 2011 or 12, I started guiding full time. Like I was a school teacher teaching junior high school, and actually took sabbatical. Went and worked on my master's in education and started my guide business part-time, and went so well. I did finish my master's. I did do that, but I never went back teaching, dude. Like just roll the guide thing. Loved it. So started doing that at 11 or 12. You know, got some great breaks, had some things go my way, caught some of those back there, key times, you know, and like it gave me the opportunity to get people on the boat with me. And so the guide business done really well for me. It was just a dream come true. And still doing that now when I'm home and I'm available. But I would say about 2018 for me, I had several of my very close friends either make the Elite Series, make the pro circuit. You know, one of my friends won the All-American. Another friend won the Bass Nation Championship. So, and it was like kind of as like people around you start having that success, it kind of fuels you even more. Like I'd been fishing the opens. I felt like I was learning so much on the road that helped me back home, that even though I wasn't winning money out there, I was becoming a better angler. So that's all that was to me. But about 2018, I kind of flipped a switch and really wanted to, you know, get qualified for one of the tours. And I had built up a little bit of sponsorship base and worked with some great people. And so I started pushing harder then to do that. And, you know, 2019, I won a Bass Open here on Toledo Bend, qualified me for the Classic for 2020. The same year, I also qualified for the pro circuit. So last year I done the pro circuit while doing the opens during COVID. And, you know, we were able to qualify for the Elite Series. So this year was my first year out there. So, you know, I feel like my story, you know, I don't know, like you guys are probably a little younger than me, but it's a little bit more of an old school story. Like a lot of the anglers, man, like we're a little later in life. Like I'm 39 now and I'm a rookie on the Elite Series, you know, and I'm fishing against guys who are so far ahead of me for their age. It's frightening. But I'm like I feel like the old school guy. Like I kind of had a little bit of a career, even though it was a guide career. I didn't just jump, you know, into college fishing and straight out. So it's odd. I'm a rookie, but I've been around a while. It's a weird dynamic, you know?
Yeah. If you think about like a rookie class getting drafted to the NFL or the NHL or something like that, and it's like either 18 to maybe 23 years old in most cases. And fishing, it's that weird sport where you can have KJ who's I don't even know if he might be 21, maybe.
Well, he better be 21. I'll just say that.
And then Andrew, you're muted. And then you have yourself, who's 39. It's just a wide range. You don't see that kind of spectrum for
yeah. Y'all know that's what makes our sport unique. It's a lifetime sport. Like as long as the good Lord lets you breathe and walk, like you can bass fish. And it's one of the cool things about our sport. But it's kind of cool you mentioned KJ, because last year it come down for me. I finished 5th. They're taking 4 out of each division, and then y'all know how this works. 4 out of the double division, and I finished 1 spot out in my division. So I was relying on a couple guys to hopefully double qualify through the doubles so I could get in. And it literally all come down to KJ Queen on the last day. If he were to win, this was at Lay Lake, I believe. And I was actually driving back from, I think, Cumberland from the Toyota Championship. This is like in December, because last year was spread out so much because of COVID. But I'm in the vehicle driving home watching bass live, of course, with the Open going on, because I had already talked to Ronnie Moore, and we knew if KJ Queen won, I was out. Any other scenario, I was in. So day 3, I'm glued, man, watching as I'm driving or whatever. And my wife's pulling the RV behind me. And real cool thing at the time, I don't think I'd even met KJ personally. And just everyone I think around the Bass Opens knew how bad I wanted it, and I was right there. And when he weighed in, like, I don't think he did his bass track that day. That was kind of torturous. That was like a devilish move. I don't.
He's like, I'm going to shun Darold.
Yeah. Like it was painful.
Put him on the edge.
He finally, like, when he weighed in, he said something. I don't want to like misquote him. It was something like, Darold can rest easy, or congrats, Darold. He said something like that. And that was like my moment where, like, oh my God, I'm in the Elite Series. And so, like, me and my wife were able to pull over, at a truck stop about that time, and kind of had a moment or whatever. So it was kind of cool. But like you said, I would like to know if he is 21. He may only be 22, but dude, heck of a fisherman. Like the whole rookie class, like, they all kicked my tail this year. So I got to step my game up next year.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that. Obviously, break down the rookie year for you. It would be cool to kind of hear you talk about, one, your mindset going into your rookie season before St. Johns River, and then your mindset leaving the St. Lawrence River. If there was a difference in your mindset and kind of how you walked away versus how you started.
Yeah. So last year was like the best. COVID was going on, and like, that's crazy for me. My wife is very high risk for COVID, and I know COVID's like a dicey subject for everybody, but I'm part of the 1% who has someone that lives with me that I love, who it would be bad if that happened to us. Okay. It's very serious for us. So
I'm right there with you.
That's where the RV thing came in for us. We were able to travel a little more safely, the 2 of us. And so, last year was just a crazy year, and it was my rookie year on the pro circuit. And along with doing that, I did the Opens, and the way the year transpired, I really didn't think I'd have a chance, and it just all happened. It was very odd. It was like I felt so accomplished by making it, man, because I fished the Opens for 10 years, and you've been around the Opens a little bit, Bailey. You've seen, like, dudes are legit. Like, to me, that's the toughest trail out there. So, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to get my mind, like where I needed it, because like the season started so quick. Like I was in January, I was late December, actually went to St. John's, never been there, went down, made a pre-trip. And that ended up being, I think, the only lake I got the pre-practice for. So no coincidence, I'd done, pretty decent at that. I'm a practice guy. I like to have some practice. So, and the way Bass had our schedule this year was very, very jam-packed, event after event. Really couldn't go pre-practice, just the way the schedule worked out, because you would almost, like, when you wanted to be there, you'd be at another event. So just one of those things, man. Like, it seemed like if you got it going, like, you really rode it. And I just started slow. I just couldn't get – after the first event, did okay, got a check, finished top 40, which with these guys, you take that, And then I just had 2 bombs in a row, man. Just 2 events at Loudon Tellico where Gussie won. And then at Pickwick, Pickwick, we had the big flood and all those things. And they threw me some curveballs, and I just did not adjust, didn't get it figured out. Like no excuse on earth, got my butt kicked. And then the rest of the season, I kind of, fished okay, had some misses. I think everybody has some misses. The biggest thing that I learned to me is you got to give yourself more opportunities. You got to give yourself enough opportunities to afford some misses, because, you know, like there's 4 fish swimming out there in various lakes that have kept me up a lot this year, that really cost me not just money, but making Saturdays, you know, big opportunities. So, but it was fun, you know, going up north. I'd never been to Champlain or St. Lawrence, but for a Southern guy, both of those are like bucket list places, dude. Like, just, you see all these tournaments there every year and you just dream of going there. And both of them were good lakes, did not disappoint. St. Lawrence River finished up really strong, and probably I didn't have my worst practice of the year at St. Lawrence, but I didn't have a good practice there. But there was something about my mindset at St. Lawrence River that reminded me of my mindset last year. And so I knew that you might ask me some of this. So I kind of reflected on some of this today. Last year, like in the Opens and in the pro circuit, I was very at peace with my decisions. And what I mean by that is I wasn't, after a tournament, letting the results like dictate how I felt about my on the water choices. Dude, you fish your butt off, you practice hard, game day, under all the stress and pressure and all that, you got to make the best decision, go with your gut. And it's like such a cliche in our sport, but last year I was able to do that. This year, I thought I was doing that. I didn't do it until St. Lawrence River. We're like, you know, day one, I stopped on my best spot, got no bites. And I said, well, I got an area 20 miles away where I got some bites. Let's go check it out. Ends up being a great spot, you know, like caught some really big ones there. You know, other times of the year, I probably would have stopped 10 times before I got there, you know, if that makes sense. But I just finally had that mentality. I was at peace with what I was doing. I just stuck to my deal. And I think all the good anglers will tell you that it doesn't come down to nobody is outworking anybody at this level. Like everyone is daylight to dark, putting it all in. Even the guys that get off early, they're prepping tackle, they're studying, they're like work is being done. It just comes down to on game day, you know, like making those decisions to get you around the fish, dude. That's really what it comes down to. And so, you know, like I wasn't in the running for the classic or for rookie of the year or anything like that. So last event, I was able to just finally put all that away and just go fishing and like make good decisions. And so I'm hoping I can carry that mentality over next year. But like so much of the tournament game, dude, it's between our ears. It's so mental. And if you're not making those good mental choices, and especially at the level I'm fishing now, it is a razor thin margin, dude, between success and failure. So even some of the guys that done well this year, they would tell me like, dude, I caught 7 today, you know, and I'm like, well, crap, I caught 20, you know, it's just razor thin margin, and you got to do all you can to come out on the right side. So it was a good learning experience for me. A lot of it was just a reminder, like just do your thing, dude. And like, it's going to pan out how it should. I feel like if I keep trusting my gut and doing the work, it'll all work out.
Yeah, I mean, that mentality is so crucial, especially when, you know, you're at the level that you're at to keep that mentality, because once you lose it, I mean, that's a difference between keeping your job and not keeping your job. And you hear so many times about, you know, fish just not being there, and it's so easy for them to just not be there. The right, you know, those 1 to 3 bites that you don't get might just not show up. You might not even have the opportunity to get those bites. Where you hear guys that put in the work, did the same things that the winners did, except they just had the bite show up, where the guy that, you know, finished out of the top 10 cut just was doing the same thing, same area maybe, and just didn't have the bite show up. It's a mentality hard to keep. So.
Several events this year that I like went on to bomb. You know, like at Pickwick, I started day one. I started right with Bill Owen. He was going down the bank flipping. I was out a little deeper throwing a chatterbait. I watched him catch 2 flipping. And, you know, I went and flipped for a while, you know, like I'm not a dummy. I saw a guy catch 2 flipping. The water's up 6 foot and it's rushing everywhere. Everyone's scrambling. And I went flipping all day and never caught a bass that day. 0. And that was tough, man. But, you know, I would hope most people that are watching this, they've had those days and they know how low that can feel. And so it's all part of it, man. I bounced back next day, had a good day. And, you know, I'm kind of always the guy. I feel like I've always been the guy that just ain't going to quit. Like I'm not going to stop. Even though fishing has tried to dish me some results at times where I should stop, like you can't, because then you don't give yourself the opportunities for those amazing highs. And that's what it's all about for us all, man. So
absolutely.
We're just getting started. It was a good season. You know, I've had a little time to reflect back on it since I've got home. And, you know, me and my wife are, you know, we're living a lot of people's dream, dude. So you got to keep it in perspective, and the results will get better. I know they will.
Absolutely. Now, I was going to say, first of all, fishing tournaments is one of the most humbling sports in the world, if not the most humbling. Right. But my second point here, when it comes to decision making, in my opinion, the two most important decisions of the day are where you start and how you adjust to your starting spot. Because if you go to your starting spot and it sucks, you can do two things from there. You can go to your plan B and catch them and trust your gut, or C, you spin and you end up doing a zero. And you have to know when to be free enough to be able to follow your gut in order to put together a good day. And I think that's where a lot of fishermen struggle, is being able to trust their gut, because they have so many spots. They just start bing bonging all over the place. So,
yeah. And I think we developed that, again, cliche, time on the water, dude.
Yeah.
I fished so many club tournaments, evening tournaments, you know, little things on the weekends, little jackpot teams, like whatever, like as many of those things you can do, they help prepare you the best they can. But, you know, like I said, at this level, dude, it's a thin margin. Like everything you find is probably going to get found by another one of these great anglers. It's very, very special. St. Lawrence, I actually did get to fish by myself on a spot that no one else ever fished. People probably fished it and it probably sucked for them. And I was able to get a couple of those bites that keep me in, you know. So, but other than that, like, you know, a lot of times we find the same stuff. And so you got to just learning how to juggle all that with all the pressure, dude. There's so much pressure, especially me being an older guy. Like, my window is not the same as some of those guys that are in their 20s. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think in ways this year, I let some of that just get to me a little bit. And I got my focus off of what it should be on. And that's just each day, like, doing your thing, letting it happen. And it's going to happen. Like, it will. I know it will.
Yeah. Like many say, if it's meant to be, it will be. You can't force anything.
Right.
We had a quick question here from one of our viewers, Charles Blood, who asks, Daryl, has the Elite always been the goal, or what was the deciding factor in what circuit you chased?
The Elites was always the goal. So when I started fishing the pro circuit in 20, that was about the time MLF had done the buy and all that stuff. So the Elites is always like, that's the big ticket to me. It just is. I know everyone has differing opinions on that, but that's just always been the carrot that I wanted. But the main thing I wanted was just the opportunity to, you know, represent my sponsors and fish at the pro level. So when I qualified for the pro circuit, done it, can't say enough good things about all the anglers and like the staff. Everybody over there is wonderful. And I just had to make the choice when I qualified for the Elites, and like I had no time to make that choice. You know, like my qualification come in December, and I mean, like, deposits had already been due for the pro circuit for the following year. So I really had like a couple days, and just, you know, financially, and I wasn't ready to get on that John Cox bandwagon and just fish every stinking pro circuit there was financially, or the travel of it all. And I just felt like, you know, that was the path for me. But I think everyone's path's gonna be a little different. You know, one of my buddies, young guy here on Toledo Bend, just had a great rookie season over on the pro circuit, and he's loving it. So, you know, it's just, I think for whether it's a young guy, old guy, whatever your dream may be, when you get your opportunity to fish at the top level at any of the organizations, you better take it and go with it and see what you can do with it. So, you know, no shade thrown toward the pro circuit at all, dude. Like, there's some bad dudes over there, like good fishermen, and love the people over there. But Bass is just where I wanted to be for me personally, and for my sponsor group. It's just kind of how it worked out where I wanted to be at.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, dude, kind of getting back to your rookie year and kind of how you, in terms of how you left things after St. Lawrence River.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned, you know, that finding that mentality that you really meshed well with on that last event. But, you know, beyond that, was there anything that really kind of stood out to you, maybe about yourself, or something that maybe, you know, you learned about yourself going into next year that you think is going to be more valuable?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, like, I'm a practice guy. Like I need to go to as many of these places I can, because even though I had been around a little while, I haven't necessarily went and fished all these lakes 8, 10, 15 hours away from me, right? And a lot of the guys I'm competing against, they have been there, and they are much better at breaking them down quickly. So I felt all year this year like I'd find some good stuff. By the end of day 3 of practice, I'd find some good stuff. But I felt like everyone else knew most of that by day 1. And it's just based on their experience and their history and all those things. Even just the comfort level of the speed of the week. Like a 3-day practice, no off limits, get your stuff ready and go. That was a little learning curve for me. So I think that's the biggest thing I learned this year was just how I need to plan better. And I think some of that I'm gonna have to do some pre-trips, and I'm gonna have to plan my practice a little better so I get off to a better start in practice quicker. You know, it's taking me a little while to like kind of get something going. And so by the time you get something going, either conditions change, like at Pickwick, I had a little something going. You know, we get like crazy rain, tornadoes, all that crazy stuff, and it comes up, and it was so different. So, you know, I just have to find them faster in practice. That's really every event. I felt like that was the thing holding me back. It would be, you know, I think at Fort Loudon, I got my only keeper bite at practice. I had 2 keeper bites the last hour of the last day of practice. And Fort Loudon was pretty tough for a lot of guys, but it was just a grinder tournament, man. It's a grinder place. And it shouldn't take you 3 days to get your first keeper bite and like get your first clue. You know what I mean? So, you know, you didn't have much to go on there. So I'd say it's probably the biggest thing I learned really is just the speed of the week, like how quick it all goes, man. Like I really wanted to enjoy this year, and we did have fun, but like, I don't remember any of it, dude. It's a blur. Like
Gone,
dude. Like,
well, especially the way the schedule was stacked too. It's like 2, 3 weeks, 2, 3 weeks, 2. Oh,
and see, even that, I think that the guys that got off to a hot start and got to running, especially the more seasoned guys has been around a little bit, like they were able to just kind of roll with it. Even the rookies, man, like the rookies smashed this year, dude. They done great. But I think getting off to a good start, you're able to like just roll with it. You got the momentum going. That's what you want. Where like a guy like me, I kind of had a couple bad events in there, and you don't get like 3 weeks at home or 4 weeks at home to like settle in. Like we didn't get a break until after Guntersville. We had about 5 weeks until we went up north. And that was just a good time for me. I come back and guided here on Toledo Bend, played a little golf, like just got my head straight because it was spinning all year. Like what just happened? What just happened? What just happened? It was just so quick, man. And so, you know, the schedule next year seems like it's spread out a little bit more. So, you know, I'm hoping that'll help me a little bit. So,
yeah, I wonder if the reason why they condensed the schedule so much this year was to be able to give you guys a break at the end of this summer to go into next year to kind of help prepare you and get everything in line. Because I know there was a lot of complaints about how people were getting boats like literally right before the St. John's event. Some were like, am I going to even have my sponsorship wrap boats ready? So maybe they condensed it. They're like, oh, let's make it hell on them this year. And then next year we can give them a nice breather break to get everything ready and situated. I wonder.
Yeah, I would say some of that was it. I think the biggest thing was like, it was amazing that Bass was able to have a full schedule the prior year during COVID. So I think the way I best understood it, they set our schedule up like they did to give themselves some gap toward the back end. If there was some issues and they had to do some reschedules, they wanted to have some open times in the fall. And the way it worked out, we had no issues. We were able to just get them all done. So, and like, I don't know about a lot of the guys like to go deer hunt, like to take time off and all that. Like I've always been a guy from afar that when I see like guys are like, yeah, it's the off season, I can't wait to go hunt and all that. Like that's cool. I want to keep fishing. Like I wish we had a
jam.
Yeah, like I'm like ready to go, man. So like I'm gonna get in a couple tournaments at Rayburn next month, just to kind of get the edge going. I still have 2 opens I'm doing in October. So like I've always been like, let's go, let's fish. I don't want 4 or 5 months off like it's gonna happen. But you're right, it does give guys time to plan. With like so many in the industry, so many companies are behind on everything. Like next year, there's gonna still be guys getting boats right before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm planning on ordering my boat like tomorrow or the next day, trying to get it, you know, hopefully in time. So that will be nice. It'll help guys prepare a little bit better and all those things. And the way it spaces out next year, it looks like you can, like we've been planning our schedule, like, you know, before St. John's, I might go to Santee Cooper. Like it gives me a chance to kind of plan some pre-trips, lay eyes on some of these places, you know, like the first tournament at St. John's, I'd never been. So a little pre-practice trip, just 3-4 days, and, you know, caught some fish and all that stuff. That was great. But I just got comfortable, like where the launches are, like running the place. It just, you feel a little more familiar when game day starts. And like practice, like I told y'all, it's like 3 days goes by so fast, it's not even fair. No matter how early you get up, how late you stay, it is over, like so fast, so quick. You know, that's just something different for me. I'm having to get used to.
Right. So,
I
dude,
feel like that's fishing in general, though. Sorry, Bailey.
Yeah,
like every time you're on the water, it's like sunrise, weigh in. You're like, where do they go? Like every time.
Yeah, I think 2 weekends. No, yeah, it was 2 weeks ago, Andrew. We were on the we had Sodas Bay tournament. Yeah. I think that was the first tournament ever where it was like it felt like noon. And we looked at the clock and it was 8:30 still. And we're like, what the heck? Like it was like the
Are
first
you talking
time
about day 2?
Happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, like I can't tell you how many times this year I'm like, well, you know, I gave my first area a good shot. I'll go hit my second area, hit my third area. And, you know, I'll go back to my first area about lunchtime, about noon. And you look down, it's like 1:30. You're like, where'd that happen? I had so many other things I wanted to do. Like but I've been on the other side of it too, man. When things are going right, there's like 80 seconds in a minute. It feels like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I qualified last year, really cool deal. We were at Lake Louisville for our last tournament. And just for the listeners that haven't heard of Lake Louisville, it's not where you want to go fish with 180 guys in October, or November.
Best fishery in the country.
It's a good fishery at the right time of the year with the right amount of boats on it. 180 open guys on it, dude. It is savage. And but in that tournament, dude, like day 1, I had 3 good keepers by like 10:30, and so like I'm soaring. Don't catch another fish all day. Day 2 comes, I have a late weigh in. Never caught a keeper. I caught those 3 on day 1 by 10:30 or whatever. My next keeper of the tournament was on day 2 at 3 o'clock. I caught a little keeper, like a little swimmer. And I was like, okay, there's still a chance. And that goes back to that mentality. Like I want to grasp that and hold it.
Mm-hmm.
And that day I had a late weigh in. I pulled up to the off limits area, like the off limits signs there. You hear Chris Bowes talking in the background. Greg Hackney's idling by me. I make my last cast, catch a keeper. That keeper tied me for 5th place, and I won the tiebreaker. Literally, my last cast of the open season got me in. And I was okay if that fish didn't bite or not. And that goes back to the mentality I was saying. Like, I was at peace. Like, if that fish don't bite, I done everything I could, laid it all out there, dude. And I caught that one on my last cast and got that in. And somehow I knew when I caught that. I ended up only with 5 fish in 2 days. But I knew when I caught that fish, it was like hope. Like, there was a chance. It was a tough tournament, dude. I finished like 50-something, with 5 fish. So, I don't know. Them boys better be ready for next year. Like since I've been home, I know how good they are. And but I just know how bad I want to succeed at this level. So I'm ready to go. Like, it's cool. I have some time to plan and think and scout these lakes and get prepared and give it a whirl. Can't wait.
Heck yeah. So obviously we're gonna jump into the as you've been mentioned for next year. We're gonna jump into the 2022 schedule here in a second. But I guess my last question for you on your rookie season, I asked you a few questions based on what you learned, kind of not from a negative standpoint, but what you've learned from maybe mistakes or something you may have not done. I want to talk. There's one last question on the flip side of it. What are you proud of that you did this on your rookie season that you're going to take into next year?
I kind of touched it a while ago. Just my attitude. I didn't let some of those failures, especially early on. I had 2 80-something finishes early on, like second, third event, and even at Pickwick, I zeroed day 1, caught a good bag next day. Like, I was very proud of my attitude and my perspective. I don't think that's something that I'm ever going to lose. Just my story, both personally, like with me and my wife, and just my fishing career. That attitude and happiness and joy, and just sometimes the honesty. I think some of the anglers kind of short themselves by not being honest with the public about just how proud they are to be at this level and how hard it is to be here. It's not easy, dude. Like, you don't just roll out of bed and go out and jack them every day. Like, that don't just happen. And like, sometimes I feel as though there's a mentality with some of the pros that, like, they want to look like superheroes. and we're not superheroes, dude. Like, we're regular dudes who are getting to do something that a whole lot of other dudes would kill to do, you know? So I was just very proud I was able to keep that mentality all year. And as I come across and get interactions with people and things like that, I want that to be infectious, man. I want people that are, whether they're doing the opens or they're fishing kayak tournaments or club, whatever they're doing, I just want them to understand why they're doing it. It's because they love competitive fishing. They love fishing. That's why you're doing it. You're not doing it to be popular or, you know, like have the most IG followers or like any of that stuff. You're doing it because you love it. And we all chose this. Like no one told me to do this as a career. And so the fact I'm getting to this level, you know, even in the downs this year, it's, you know, it can be hard. And I had moments where it was, but just overall, I was very proud of mentality and how I fought, because it wasn't easy for me. Hadn't been easy my whole career. And, you know, there's some times where I probably could have folded up and, you know, and just took my whoopings, but I didn't, man. I fought through and had a solid season. I actually did, you know, I mentioned earlier, like losing fish and things like that. I think every bass angler can tell you all those stories, but I had 4 fish this year that just, they cost me tremendously. Like there were 4 events I finished somewhere in the 60s that I'd have been fishing on Saturday, you know, if that fish gets in the boat and it was fish that you normally don't lose. And you know, like I hadn't lost a fish flipping in a long, long time. And I lost 2 or 3 this year, like flipping, and you don't lose those fish. And so just part of it though, the way I see it is I got those out of the way. And next year I feel bad for the first one that bites at St. John's.
Oh boy.
It'll probably be on a wacky worm. So, you know, I still won't get to set the hook hard and I'll have to bait him in, but y'all know what I'm saying? Like I was just proud. I didn't, you know, let a few small bumps in the road, you know, like clear my, you know, like blur my vision from what I'm getting to do. Like I still have my finger in, like I have so many local buddies and guide customers and things like that who follow along with me and stuff. And I feel like I owe it to them. Like you don't have time to pout and whine when it's not going your way. You just got to keep on rolling. So I'd say like more than anything to do with fishing, I was just proud of my mentality this year. That'd be the number one thing.
Heck yeah. So you're the kind of guy that, you know, you see these fishing clips, you know, a guy loses a giant, right? And then there's the 2 type of guys. There's one guy that's just going to stare at the water at his bait that, you know, flew out of its mouth or whatever. Yeah. One guy might hit the deck or whatever, you know, and they will be all pissed off, kind of like you mentioned. Right. Then there's the guy that as soon as he loses that fish, he just fires another cast and keeps on rolling. Right. You're saying that's that you were proud of that, being that guy that's just going to, you know, bad stuff happen, let it go. Most of the time, I mean, like, you know, like I lost the 5-pounder at Champlain on day 2. And like when I watch the GoPro footage, like I set the hook on it, comes up, jumps right by the boat, see my bait fly out, it goes away. There was a brief moment where I kneeled down and we had a talk, me and the big man, and said, okay. And I got back up and went to casting. But even last year, like in the pro circuit over at Sam Rayburn, I had a chance to win that event going the last day. It was the one, of course, John Cox wins, and I went on to finish 3rd. But with like 30 minutes to go in the day, I lose a pretty good fish. In the end, it wouldn't have won the tournament. But my cameraman and everyone watching me that day thought that was the winning fish when it got off. And I'll never forget hearing the cameraman. I went to the back of the boat to the motor and was pulling the fish around, trying to wear it down. And it just opened his mouth and chatterbait just fell out. Like it didn't jump. There was no dramatic where everybody got to see it. It's just, I'm pulling the fish. Next thing you know, it's gone. And I remember like, as it popped out, I kind of wound up my string and like started walking to the front to make a cast. And I heard my cameraman in the back of my ear go, oh no. Like he didn't even realize what had happened. I just heard him whisper, oh no. And I never said a word. Like I just reeled up. I didn't say, oh God, how did that happen? I was just so proud in that moment. All I thought to do was compete. And I went back up there and made another cast, and I didn't win the tournament. But in my mind, like that's a winning mentality. And it can be hard, dude, with everything going on all the time to like, if you just keep your finger on that, I think you're doing pretty good. If you can just stay focused, like you said, instead of breaking rods and screaming and all that. And I'm not saying I have not done that. Okay. There's a guy fishing me on Lake Fork. My marshal on Daytail Lake Fork, he probably thought I needed to go to the psych ward when I lost one. But you try to minimize that stuff and keep on the straight and narrow, dude. Like you can't catch them. You know, I always say, like with guide customers and things like that, I always have a saying that I've never done well when I'm pretending to be Eeyore, you know, from Winnie the Pooh, the little donkey Eeyore, nobody loved him. Okay. And y'all think about that. When you're in the boat, if you have that sour mood going on,
Like, there's no fish around me. I can't catch one. How many times do you catch them when you have that attitude? Like, it just don't happen. Like, zero, man, because it puts you in a bad mentality. You're not making good decisions. And so when it's all said and done, dude, however long my professional career goes on, when I come home, I want to know that I busted my rear end, loved every second of it, and kept that mentality. I think if I do that, I'm
doing all right.
Be a happy guy. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, dude, let's get into the schedule for next year.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm very curious. So obviously the first event, St. John's River, back in February 10th and 13th.
Yeah.
This is kind of something that Andrew and I have slightly touched on is how many years in a row is it St. John's for the first year? And I know obviously
Groundhog Day, man. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of curious your opinion on them always starting at St. John's River.
I don't get to make the schedule,
right?
But as a fan of the sport, not as an elite, I'm trying to take myself out of the elite angle because it does benefit me that I know that place now a little bit, almost the same time of the year.
Right.
It would be cool to go to some places at different times. I wonder what a tournament would be like at St. John's in April. Like, I just wonder because it has been a lot of years, and almost every year they go, it's in February.
Right.
So, I wonder how good it would be. Like when I was down there for pre-fishing last year, it was total pre-spawn, and it was killer, dude. Like I caught some big ones. So, yeah, I mean, some diversity in the schedule would be nice. But the guys making the schedule, dude, like there's so much behind the scenes that the fans aren't privy to. They don't get to see what all really goes in those decisions. And so I think sometimes, especially during COVID, this COVID time frame, they're trying to choose a community that supports, and that community does. They show up big time. I believe the tourism, wants us there. So, but I would like to see some, if nothing else, some different times on some of these places, but different lakes, I'm always game for.
Right. All right. Well, about a week later.
Yeah.
You don't have much far of a
4
drive.
days. 4 days later.
Oh yeah, sorry. 4 days later, the next week, you don't have a far drive because you're gonna go fish the Harris Chain.
Right.
We're gonna talk about the Harris Chain middle of February.
So I fished the Pro Circuit event there in 20. This year, prior to the St. John's event and after the St. John's event, I was on the Harris Chain. I think the Harris Chain this is just me speaking, but just from guys I've talked to, and I think Harris Chain is probably the best tournament lake in Florida right now, just because it's incredibly diverse. There's 4 or 5 lakes you can go fish. Guys will be doing a ton of different things, even if it is in February and there's chance for spawning fish and all that. Each lake offers different habitat, so I think it's going to be a really cool tournament, and it should spread out pretty good. With just 90 guys or 100, however many we have. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a fun one. And for me, some of those guys do have some experience there from fishing the Opens or even some that fished FLW Tour, things like that. But it's not one where the whole field was at last year in February. And so that was tough this year. Like it felt like some of the events we went to, it goes back into the routine. Like, well, this is year 4. We're at St. Lawrence River in July. And so if you're a guy that's never been there, it's a different mentality. Like I'm trying to figure out where I can get my first bite, and they're checking old spots. So I like that it's somewhere they hadn't been to in a while. I can't remember the last time they were there. It's been years, I believe. But there have been some opens there. So that should be a fun event, dude. It could be Slugfest or like with it being in Florida. I have a little experience down there, but not a lot. Like, and if the temperature drops 8 degrees, the fish won't bite for 3 days. So it could be, it could be tough. But either way, I just feel like that fishery offers, just a bunch of different options for the anglers in locations and styles. Like your whole top 10 could be doing different things. I think as a fan, I think that's exciting, seeing guys break it down different ways. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be a fun event.
Are you the kind of guy to try to stick to one pattern, or are you the kind of guy to try to find a mix of everything?
It just kind of depends on how practice goes. I generally end up like, if I stick to one thing, I want several areas, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
if I'm throwing a chatterbait, I want to have several different places that's going on. If I'm flipping, I want several different places. But a lot of times in these spawn type tournaments, a two-pronged approach kind of helps, unless it's a full out spawn. And if it is full out spawn, then you have everybody looking at the same fish. So me personally, a lot of times I like to have a way to catch some fish and then maybe try a way to target the larger fish, whether it be punching or sight fishing or whatever it might be. So a lot of times I do look for like a 1-2 punch kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Well, a month later, for the next elite tournament is probably the one I am absolutely most excited for as a fan. Over up in Santee Cooper. And it sounds like from the guys I've heard touch briefly on the schedule for next year that the anglers are also extremely excited for this tournament as well. What are your thoughts about Santee in the middle of March?
So that goes into those ones, you know, like with me guiding all these years, I haven't got to Toledo Bend and Rayburn a ton. And that's one of those places, much like Toledo Bend, like just, you know, how many big ones are in there. And as an angler, like, that's what I want. Put me somewhere like that in March. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I'm fired up for that one. Like I'm, you know, never been there, never seen it. Hoping I can plan a little trip there, but I like being around big fish. I do. I feel like that suits me better, having the opportunity to fish for big ones and not having to just beg up 10 pounds a day. You know, like you get in some of the little small river tournaments, things like that. So, you know, I'm excited for it, dude. I think that one could be really good. I hadn't really talked to a lot of the guys yet, but I mean, if you tournament fish, you know what lives in Santee Cooper, and you know March is a special time of the year.
Oh yeah.
Do you think there will be more 10-pounders caught than props broken on Santee?
I've seen how these guys drive. They're going to tear some props up, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a grandma out there sometimes. Like in my navigating, I'm still thinking like, well, I got to get home on my boat. I got a guide trip, or I got the next tournament. These dudes turn the key on and do not care and go. There'll be a lot of props broken at Santee. Now they were there, I think, last year in the fall, maybe. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So some of them may have some of the navigation down a little bit better than others, and they can just go right on by me. I'm gonna idle through those little stump fields, and they'll bite when I get there. That's gonna be my mentality. But I would bet there will be a couple 10-pounders caught. Being in March, I would say there might be there should be more than one. I would think.
Heck yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm beyond excited for that one. Almost a month, basically 3 weeks later, at the tournament, it's number 2 for me. I know they're back to back. Well, not back to back on the calendar, but event wise, they're back to back. That I'm probably second on the list for excitement is Chickamauga in the first week of April.
Yeah, what I kind of think is cool about that is you haven't seen there has not been a lot of professional level tournaments on the Tennessee River Lakes in April. So again, that's a different time frame. I think it's really cool for the fans to see. When you hear Chickamauga, you think ledges, you think June, and Chickamauga's got some great big ones. I follow a lot of guys that fish up there like in the wintertime. They catch like 40-pound stringers happen often. So I'm not sure what April will bring as far as, what's going on, but should be one of those ones like I like. That's what I love about Toledo Bend and Rayburn is there's a lot of different patterns at any given time. And that could be going on there. There'll probably still be some pre-spawn, probably be some spawning, like a little of everything. And so that really like lets the guys split up and do their thing and just makes it fun. But again, that's one that's got big ones in it. So I'm looking forward. And it just who that bass fishes is not excited to go somewhere where like the next flip, next cast could be a 10-pounder, 12-pounder. Like, that's what it's about, dude. So yeah, I'm pumped.
Heck yeah.
And then
go ahead.
I was going to say from there, you go to another place that is just chock full of giants in Lake Fork in the middle of May.
Yeah. It's pretty close when we were there this year. Am I right on the dates there?
I think it's a week later.
A week later. We were there this year, and just because of the late winter and stuff, there were still so many on beds. I fell into the bed trap. Had good day 1. Day 2. Day 2 is one of those days where like you wanted to just like grab a big cinder block and go out in about 15 foot and just jump outside the boat, dude. Like I shook off fish on day 1 I didn't need to save them for day 2. Then day 2 they were either gone or wouldn't bite. Like crazy stuff like that. But, Lake Fork is about 3.5 hours from my house. So I think that's probably going to be the closest one on the schedule to me, I believe. But I don't have much experience there. It's very close, but I've never fished a tournament there till this year. So yeah, that'll be a real fun one. Assuming that's going to be like the Bass Fest, weigh them on the water kind of format, I would think, because of the slot limit. So that'll be special. Someone's going to catch 100 pounds again, like
every time.
Every time, you know, and it wasn't, you know, like Lee Livesay's last day was magic.
Oh my gosh.
Patrick Walters caught over 100 pounds and had 15 pounds one day. What I'm saying is, like, it wasn't on fire every day. Like, we still didn't hit it perfect. And so you don't know. It depends on the spring we get. Like, you know, I live right on the border of Texas. So down here, it just depends on what kind of winter and kind of spring we get and those things, of what the pattern's going to be. But it won't matter. Like, they're going to catch them, like big ones, giants. I kind of hope that we don't have a winter. I hope it's hot and there's some fish out deep, because looking at the schedule, I just want to go throw a deep crankbait in a tournament. And like, so I'm like, I could sell all my deep crankbaits and not even worry with them next year, you know? So, you know, maybe there'll be a few out deep next year, a few more than there were this year. So, but again, that's 3 in a row. Really, that's the first 5, dude, like coming out swinging.
Fun.
Yeah.
Like Lake Harris has giants. I caught a 10-pounder at Lake Harris this year when I was down there playing around. Caught a 10-pounder off the bed. Like, giants, St. John's, giants. This year we didn't even hit St. John's good, and it still took good weights. So that's 5 in a row. And
we'll make it 6 in a row.
What's 6?
St. Lawrence.
Oh yeah, well, that too. Yeah. And then we have the next one's the TBA, right? The June.
Yep, that one. Is there any guess?
Oh yeah, TBA. I forgot about that.
I don't have a guess. If you have a guess, you probably can't tell me. Like, right. I have no idea what their plans are. They have communicated nothing with us other than what they have to you guys.
What do you hope it is?
We're having a tournament somewhere. That's all we know. So I hope it's
so if we have zero inkling whatsoever, can we like throw out there what we think would be cool?
Oh yeah. If we're spitball, dude.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like we said offline, the last thing I want to do is get you.
Yeah. But like, you've talked to like Bruce Aiken, and he told you, hey, this is where we're going. You might want to keep that to yourself, or you're gonna get some people mad.
I think if I asked Bruce Aiken, he'd probably just laugh at me and not say a word.
Probably that's what he would do if I called him as well. You know, he'd say, good try, Daryl. No, I mean, like, you would think logistically, like, I've heard some people saying like, well, you may go up north, you may do this. I would think, my guess is they're not going to have us at Lake Fork mid-May, 2 weeks later make us drive up north. We're going to St. Lawrence, I believe, in July.
July 14th, because pretty much the season opener for St. Lawrence, which we'll get into this in a second.
Yeah.
June, I think it's a month before the tournament, right? Andrew? June 14th, like the second.
Yeah. So typically in the past, they wouldn't make the anglers drive so far, you know, 2 separate times. So, I mean, I think we're going to be in the South somewhere. But beyond that, I don't know. It's kind of cool.
From a fan standpoint, I think it would be really cool to see the elites go to like a Grand or a Cumberland, something along those lines, and maybe back to the Ozarks, something that's maybe
like a Beaver Lake.
Yeah, something that's completely different that we've seen. He says he peeks his mouth.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go to Beaver either. But what's the other Arkansas lake that's pretty good?
Ouachita?
No, not Ouachita.
Logan Martin?
No, they had.
Never mind.
They had like the one day there, then the other day was at a different lake than an elite event a couple years ago.
You got me stumped.
Was it Arkansas?
Arkansas?
I think it was Arkansas. Hold on.
Look it up.
Let's look it up.
But I'm thinking like
Randall Tharp won it. Randall Tharp won it. Wasn't that Arkansas?
Yeah, you're thinking Bull Shoals.
Yeah, Bull Shoals.
Yeah.
Bull Shoals.
Yeah. So Bull Shoals is kind of like falls in that Table Rock area, you know, kind of there hadn't been an elite back up there in quite a while. So, you know, that area is probably ready for us to come back. That could be cool. I don't know about June. I don't know if they've ever been there in June. But yeah, it's got to be in the South somewhere. But seriously, it's not like we all know and we're holding back. I mean, the elite anglers are the biggest gossip girls there are, like the biggest group of junior high girls. You cannot tell them a secret. So as far as I know, unless no one is telling me, none of us know. But I would think we're going to be somewhere in the South. I mean, me personally, I would love for it to be where I'm looking at right now, right here on this. So there's lots of big fish in this lake, and they like to bite in June. So I'm all for having one here at Toledo Bend. I think that'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
It's been
they've
5
been
years.
back to Toledo since what? Kevin won it?
It was 17. They come back the year after, and John Murray won.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In 17. It's time, dude. Like 4 or 5. Next year, 5 years. It's time.
Is the grass starting to grow there again? Because I know the grass had been gone for a couple of years.
It's been gone a couple of years. In places, there's a little bit. It's not like what it was. I don't know if it'd ever get what it was. You know, like I saw times where it was 20 foot deep and all that, and it was amazing. If we can just get it back to 10 foot in places, it's amazing. But like summer tournaments going on here, like there's some 3-fish, little team derbies and things like that. And we're talking dudes that this is all they fish. They know this lake like really good. Like some of them are taking 18, 19 pounds to win on 3 fish. So there's grass or no grass. There's a lot of good fish here. And this lake offers what I like. It offers deep, shallow, north, south. Like every tournament I've ever competed in here, you have guys doing polar opposites, and they have the same equal chance to win on any given day. I like those deals. Like when I watch all of every organization. I watch all the tournaments because I'm a nut. I love it. I like the tournaments when they go from one angler to the next. I see some diversity in how they're breaking it down. I don't like to see every guy throwing the same bait, doing the same thing. Just isn't exciting to me. I like to see how guys can take the same place, the same time, and do it different and still have a chance to win. That's what's so cool about fishing. You can do it your own way.
Right. So the next tournament, July 14th, is an interesting one because I believe so New York's opener, I believe it's the second Saturday of June every year, correct?
Third
Andrew?
Saturday of June.
Third
And they're
Saturday?
talking about moving it back, I believe. They're talking about in the regulations making it a set date every year as opposed to the third Saturday of June. So it could be later or earlier. So I'm waiting for that ruling to come down. But yeah, it's usually right around the 19th, 15th to 19th, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and it's so, Daryl, one of the things you mentioned was how next year you want to, with the schedule and all, you want to take time out to pre-practice on these places.
Yeah.
New York events can be very tough, I think, for you guys to pre-practice because of the way the season rules are, right?
For that event, you can't go pre-practice.
Yeah.
But, you know, like we were there in July this year. So that does help. I actually, you know, because we went out of Waddington last year, I wasn't making the big crazy run. And the way it works out now, we're going out of Clayton. So there'll be a lot of guys like more near the lake and all that. So I did go down after the event was over and spend a day or two on the lake just to prepare myself if we ever go back, because they go back. That's another one, you know, like what is this? 5? It'd be 5 years in a row, maybe, or 5 out of 6. So, you know, it's one they're probably going to, so you need to learn. So, but like you said, yeah, you can't go pre-practice for it. Like,
yeah,
I guess
if you're going to like Cayuga, like they did a few years back, you can go pre-practice. You just can't put anything in your live well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes it a little bit difficult, but I mean, dude, if anyone's griping about going back to that place, they just need to be quiet because that's a special
Yeah.
that was a special experience getting to be there for a week. It was really cool.
Yeah, and the only comments I'll make on it, and I know I'm taking words out of Andrew's mouth as well, is we are just very excited that it's going out of Clayton. It's just going to be pretty awesome to watch, and I'll leave it at that.
I think going down there, yeah, obviously, like it's a different animal going out of there in Waddington. I will say, you know, all I know is going out of Waddington. Afterwards, we went and stayed. Me and my wife went down, stayed in the RV park, fished a day or two down there. Clayton was a really cool town, a lot of stuff going on, all that. So it'd be kind of cool to see how much of the community we can get there. But like at Waddington, those people show up, even the ones that like don't know a ton about bass fishing. Like I met some fans that like really don't fish or anything, and they were so excited to have us there. We're very welcoming and like, I don't know, that was one of the events when I come out on stage this year, like all the fans were going crazy. It was really, really cool. I enjoyed it. So, but I do think logistically, obviously, Clayton, for obvious reasons, will make it pretty fun.
Right. Heck yeah. Well, then, obviously, you got a month later until you are headed to South Dakota for Lake Oahe. I think a lot of people are excited to watch. Maybe not you guys from the sake of wind, but it should be a fun event.
I'm excited again. That's one. They've only been to once. A lot of the guys that were fishing the tour then now fish another tour. So a lot of these guys are going to be in the same boat as me. I'm all for going to these new places we haven't been to often and all that. So I live on Toledo Bend, which is 186,000 acres, and that's a large lake. I've already done some research on that one over there. It's like 380,000 acres, like massive. So that will be fun. I'm excited. That's obviously a part of the country we've never been to. So that part will be fun. I know last time they were there, so we're a tight little group. Those of us that camp and do the RV thing, there's 15 or so anglers that probably do it, I guess, or something. But there's, you got your little group that travels like that. So we get to see each other all the time. And when we were up there last time, they were there last time, the weather got a little crazy a couple times. Like a couple big storms blew in, and Miss Gleason over there doesn't do so well in the storms and tornadoes and all those kind of scary things. So, that's a little iffy, but I think the fishing would be cool. And I just feel like the playing field is real level when you go to these places you hadn't been to every year. Everyone's showing up to the lake fresh. Let's see what we can go do, should be good fishing. And they have us going out of a different launch this time. So we'll be going, much farther north than they did last time. So it's Mobridge. It's going to bring a whole different section of the lake, into play, because from what I understood last time, there's no marina to get gas. You can only go so far and turn around and come back. So, it'll be cool. I'm excited for that one. It'll be fun.
Hopefully there's not as many dirt and gravel roads you have to drive on to get to the town like they did last time.
Yeah. So, I heard there's some guys having to wash their boats every day from all the dust and all that stuff. That's little stuff, man. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Well, I think from the sounds of it, Taco Ito might be having a South Dakota license, because I think he's already there after St. Louis.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. I considered trying to get up there myself this month, and just logistically it didn't work out for me. But you're not going to outwork these guys, dude. He wasn't the only one that's up there. He may have been the only one posting about it, but there's some other dudes that went up there.
I don't doubt it.
I mean, it's just how tough the fishing is. Everybody wants it that bad, dude. So get in your truck and go. No, it'll be fun. There's a little mystery. Even for you guys trying to, doing your fantasy show for that event. That's gonna be a little different for y'all. I just think it adds a little spice to our seasons to see some of these places that aren't on the schedule every year. Just mix it up.
Definitely. So then, wrapping the season up, I think a place that a lot of people, anglers included, are really excited to watch, and obviously you guys go fish.
Yeah.
Mississippi River.
Yep. I have been there a couple of times. I've been for an open. We had a pro circuit event there last year. Really cool place. For my friends in Louisiana and stuff, we think Mississippi River. We think Baton Rouge, the big, muddy, nasty looking Mississippi River. And when you go up there, at times you almost feel like you're in Florida. It's the most fertile fishery on earth, the upper Mississippi River. There's birds everywhere. There's tons of fish, lily pads everywhere, cypress tree. There's so much cover and stuff. It's a cool place. So the biggest thing when I first went there was the amount of current there was something I was not familiar with. It's intimidating how fast the current moves. I'm glad I got good trolling motor batteries, because you're gonna run them up big time. So, but yeah, cool one. And for a river tournament, I like to have 1 or 2 river tournaments on the schedule. For that one there, the fishing can be pretty good. It's going to take pretty good weights to win. And it does offer that diverse thing. It's got smallmouth and largemouth. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll see the guys do a lot of different stuff. There's some guys that fish the Elite Series from up there who's going to probably be big time, favorites on everyone's fantasy teams. But cool place. Really cool, very diverse. You have a lot of options, which is, to me, is always fun. You can do the lock-in stuff, which gets a little sketchy up there.
Right.
Saw like they had a BFL up there like a month ago, and I know the guys in the upper lock didn't make it back. I actually heard the ones in the lower lock didn't make it back either.
Oh no.
So they have a lot of barge traffic there, dude. So like, the whole locking thing can get real sketch there. Like in the open there, I didn't think I was going to make it through. Like, in fact, when we went to get in line, one of the guys there knew I was an early flight. He made sure I got in front. He said, make sure you get in front of me, dude. I'm way at the end. So, and was able to make it back. But yeah, that locking deal will turn your hair gray. It's stressful. So
is that why people refer to you as a silver fox? Because the Mississippi.
Yeah, it happened at a very young age. It's all silver now. It was salt and pepper for a couple of years, and it just went. So yeah, my wife started that for me. In 2015, I got to fish Bass Fest at Kentucky Lake. You know, do y'all remember like for a couple of years there, Bass did a thing where like the top 10 in the opens that weren't on the Elite Series could come up and fish that one event, right? And so I qualified and got to fish that. And did well, and that was, my wife decided to tell the world about silver fox, and it just kind of stuck. You can't hide it. What am I going to do? So we have some fun with that. So
that's awesome, dude. Well, Darold, we really appreciate you taking the time out and you to giving us a lot of good notes to learn from moving forward when it comes to mentality perspective. Fishing perspective. We really appreciate the time, and we got one last question for you, and we'll let you go here.
Yeah, fire away, dude.
When if you said you listened to the show before, so you know exactly what's coming. And
I should have prepared for this. I did. Go ahead, because you stump at the end. You stump everybody with it. Fire away, dude.
So you know the question, so I don't want to explain too much to you. But if you could sit down with 3 different individuals, doesn't have to be fishing, have a steak, have a beer, and pick their brain, who are you going to invite?
Man, I wish I'd have prepared for that. So fishing, I'll pick one that I've got to be around a little bit. I do not know him well. We're not buddies or anything like that. But for me, when I really got the tournament bug in like the mid to late 2000s, there's no one bigger than King Kong, Kevin Van Dam. And I've got to know him through the years. And like special moment for me was like when I won the Open 2 weeks later. Like I know I'm going to the Classic. 2 weeks later, we're at the Classic working for sponsors. I'm going to fish the following Classic. And Kevin walked in to have dinner with his family where I was that evening, and he got up from the table and come over and congratulate him and win the Open. And there may have been some little waterworks, kind of like my wife's like, are you going to cry in front of everybody? It's like, yeah, a little bit. That's Kevin. I mean, he's just someone, he's done a lot for the sport, dude. So he would have to be someone involved. This one probably couldn't happen, but someone I followed a lot growing up, that an athlete, was Kobe Bryant, that I just thought was like a fierce competitor. I played basketball in school. And, what happened with his passing with his daughter and all that stuff, that actually happened while I was at the pro circuit at Rayburn. And like one of my best buddies was there, and he knows like I was always idolized Kobe Bryant. And when I got off the water that day, that's how I found out. He's like, like Kobe Bryant passed away today. I was like, oh man. So, and then the last one, I like to golf on the side when I'm not fishing.
Okay.
So, and this is all on a whim. I'm probably going to regret not saying someone else, but I would say like Arnold Palmer. Like, I just think he'd be a cool dude to like play around to golf with, maybe go have a little drink with afterwards. Like, just a cool dude. I think we probably have a similar perspective on how we feel about fans and things like that and the love of what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. So you got the 2 most expensive hobbies going on for you.
Yep.
Golf and fishing.
Yep. I just want to, like I tell her, I want to catch enough fish so I can play golf every day. That's going to take a lot of fish catching.
That's take a lot of fish.
Nah, love it, dude. Like, we live
just
right
a couple wins, you'll be all right.
Yeah, and those are easy to come by. You saw, like,
absolutely.
Hank Cherry won 2 classics in a row. So anything's possible, dude. But hey, man, next year might be my year, dude. You just never know.
Yeah,
that's true.
Never know. That's fishing.
Hey, and look, like, so your listeners know, I kind of reached out to you, Bailey. Like, I do listen to y'all show. Big fan of what you guys do. I like all the different things y'all are doing. I really like y'all's attitudes about it. Like, y'all love it. And so y'all are easy to listen to when I'm driving, practicing, any of that stuff. And so I appreciate y'all, give me a chance to come over and hang out with y'all. And hopefully, I'll do something next year exciting and get another chance to come on and visit with y'all.
Oh, dude, exciting
welcome
or
at
not,
any time.
no matter what, you always got a seat on this show. So
My dog's
anytime you want to come on, yeah. Anytime you hear about a topic we're talking about, whatever have you want to come, and that goes out to a lot of people. Like, if you guys hear a certain topic we're talking about and you want to do a show about it, reach out to us and let us know. But like, Daryl, you are always welcome on the show, regardless of time of year or what happens, whether you finish last or finish first. We appreciate getting you on, dude, because we can do that for a lot of people, especially yourself. So we appreciate it, dude, especially taking the time out tonight. And we'll be in touch with you, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good one, dude. Yeah, man.
Take care.
Thank you.
Good dude. It's so he mentions how he's Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend are kind of his home. Sam Rayburn is probably besides it's a toss up right now between Sam Rayburn or Santee Cooper for the bucket list of where to go fish.
For you?
Yeah, like it used to be St. Clair, but St. Clair's like third right now. Just because after going to Texas and fishing like Possum Kingdom and getting a little taste of the South, I think Sam Rayburn or a Santee would be an awesome place to go. A time of year pending, but I don't know. What about you?
And that one's tough because we've had this discussion. I think we were talking about it on the boat yesterday. I was like, I don't really care too much to go to these big name lakes because there's so many small lakes out there that have just absolute giant bass in close proximity to these big name lakes. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to go fish a Sam Rayburn. Santee Cooper would be cool because I feel like it doesn't get a ton of pressure all the time. But I mean, I personally, if I was to go on like a bucket list trip, I would want to find little lakes that not too many people know about and just go jam on them. And then, maybe tag like a Sam Rayburn while I'm down in that area just to keep it a little more hush. But like, that's the kind of stuff that would be fun to me. More fun to me is fishing areas that aren't really known. Like OHIV, right? Like that place got blown up, but who knew about it before that?
Yeah, it's known now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's so many more lakes like that around the country that just have giants in them and tons of giants, and they're not talked about.
Oh, yeah. And especially even when you get on a private spectrum. I mean, gosh. I think just like, especially for us Northerners too, just getting down and fishing somewhere new is just a lot of fun in itself just because of the whole exploration stage of things, Like Chickamauga is still my favorite lake in the world right now, just from the sheer fact of I haven't explored the whole thing yet. I mean, granted, I can blame that on being in a kayak, but it's still like being able to explore certain parts. Pedal, come on, give me a little bit of credit here. Riding a bike around the damn lake. Just being able to learn it. It's something brand new. You didn't grow up around it, and that's the part I'm really excited for 2022 is do 7 or 8 tournaments that are around the country that I have never fished before. I might have. Who knows if they're back at Chickamauga? I'm definitely going to go fish one. But like new places I've never been to, so I'll go down, spend the week there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually really excited to make that content for this channel, and obviously share it with the folks. But dude, just new bodies of water sound awesome, and like that's exactly what Daryl was talking about is being able to go to an Oahe where it's almost a clean slate in terms of no one's really been there, especially except for maybe the guys that are out pre-practicing like as we speak. So it's really cool concept. And like, you talked about St. John's River, why can't we do that a different time of year? Why can't you go somewhere completely different, that specific time frame for the start of the Elite Series? But at the flip side, as a fan, you want to see something new, fresh, exciting, but also, being in the industry, you understand business is business, money talks, and obviously money keeps
coming in
Trail Series alive. So that's what's super important about it. But awesome episode tonight, obviously, with Daryl.
Yeah, thank you.
I cannot wait to get him back on the show. We're obviously going to dive in more, and hopefully we'll get him on for maybe a little preview before 2022 begins. But obviously he's always welcome, as have all of our guests that we've had on and the amazing fans that tune in every night. And guys, make sure you guys are following us on social media because we got some pretty cool stuff coming up in the works, especially with Adam, starting to pump out some of his segments that you guys will see moving forward on every Wednesday. That Business from the Bass Boat will have some industry professionals coming on, talking some business. So if you're an angler that wants to, you're trying to make it in the industry, whether on the angling side or the business side, that's going to be a good segment to tune into and learn from. But a couple things for news-wise. Big shocker, Jacob Wheeler wins the knockout round of Major League Fishing today on Champlain. Jacob Wheeler wins another one.
But Jacopo is in second, though, wasn't he? Or did he fall?
Let's see. What is he in? Jacopo's in fourth now, but he went practicing like halfway through the day. So Jacopo is who I'm rooting for, but also I'm rooting for Justin Lucas, who won the preliminary round. So he automatically qualifies for the championship round. I'm rooting for Lucas to get his first win. But Jacopo
kind of
would
cool
be
to
awesome.
see Jacopo win, or even like Matt Lee, like finally be able to like break down the wall and win a major event. So it'd be cool to see Matt Lee do it.
Yeah, that would be freaking wild. But it's kind of crazy to think. So Lucas won, I think, about like 1 ounce or something like that, or a few ounces. I know it wasn't even really a pound that he won by to qualify for championship round over Brandon Coulter. And Brandon Coulter was 9th. Top 8 make it to the championship round. So he got knocked out after only losing yesterday by a pound. Which it makes you kind of, because like how they fish the Major League Fishing is kind of interesting. It makes you wonder, maybe if he let off on some of his fish, he would have had more today versus trying to go after Lucas for the win. But if you say he got one more bite, he would have beaten Lucas and already been in the championship round. It's such a strategy puzzle. It's what's kind of interesting about it. But I thought that was really cool. Not cool for Coulter. Obviously, Coulter's a good dude. We've had him on the show before, so I feel bad saying it's cool that he was 9th when the top 8 made it through. But it was cool kind of seeing the whole strategy of how different things can go. So that's pretty sweet. But, dude, you got anything announcement-wise that the folks should know before we wrap things up here?
Dates are going very fast for September and October. I haven't made for bass. I think I only have like 10 days available at this point. Breaking news. Friday is my last day at my job, so I'm going to announce it now. I going full-time guide this fall with some side jobs in there, so I got some weekday availability in September. I think I have 10 or 11 days booked right now in September with like 4 pending, and then about the same in October. So we're gonna be grinding them out, and then November, if Lake Erie is open and somebody wants to get on the short list, I'm like, get up here tomorrow. We're gonna go out and jam on them. Let me know, because we can do that too. So it's going to be a fun fall. In other news, I'm calling Canada tomorrow because it looks like they open the Canadian border to fishing. So
we're going fishing tomorrow. I'm gonna take
tomorrow,
off work.
But I might be calling to see if that's a possibility, because I need to get over and visit my pets I haven't seen in a couple of years due to COVID. And yeah.
So it sounds like I'm moving into my new apartment in Buffalo this Saturday. So it sounds like I'm gonna drop my stuff off. Lan, my fiance, can move all of it in, and we're gonna go fish Canada on Saturday.
I'll be in Rochester, so that will not.
So I'm gonna take your boat to Canada.
Yeah, that would go over really well. No, because I'm just curious, because I read on one article that you would have to, when you apply, you would have to write down all the dates that you planned on going over and fishing and providing vaccination proof. And then another website, a Canadian website, like a government website, says nothing of that. So I just want to know what the ruling is for anybody who wants to go over, so I can kind of help spread the word around here in Buffalo.
Better safe than sorry. Yeah, I'm just trying to get up there and fish freaking Simcoe with Nick Kuzvis.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go fish, man. But, yeah, so on my side here, before we wrap things up, making a big move on Friday, moving to Buffalo. I'll be like 10 minutes from Andrew, so you guys are going to see a lot of smallmouth videos. But there are some pretty good lakes around Buffalo, and we'll obviously still be putting out some good largemouth content around the entire, western and central New York still. Nothing's really going to change. If anything, you're just going to see better content, more consistent content. and I'm pretty pumped for that. Like I mentioned, 2022 is going to be a big year, especially in terms of some series coming out in terms of kayak fishing and tournaments around the country. You're going to see some pretty cool stuff coming out for that. And then next Monday, I fly out to North Dakota and come back on Thursday. So as of right now, the plan is we're going to have Benjamin Nowak on the show this week. It'll be a pre-recorded. Does not look like we're going to do Monday Night Live next week. We're going to have Ben Nowak on, and that'll be a pre-recorded show on Monday. So you'll still have a show, but it'll be up on Monday morning, not Monday night, and it won't be live. So that's going to be a good one. But then this Friday, our good buddy, Mr. Wes Logan, is coming back on the show. So that'll be Friday's episode. You guys can tune in on the podcast platform or watch on YouTube, whichever have you. If you
don't forget about Wednesdays, Business from the Bass Boat.
Wednesday, Adam will be having on Sean Budiak from X2 Power Batteries. That'll be a good episode, diving into some AGM stuff, especially for you boaters. That's going to be a pretty big episode to watch. And then, like we mentioned, Wes Logan on Friday, Benjamin Nowak next Monday. And we got some pretty cool episodes coming up for the rest of the month. We have Justin Hamner coming on. We have Matt Beatty coming on as well, who I got the chance to fish with out in Florida. It's going to be a pretty fun month. So we're trying to schedule a lot of these ahead and try to make sure that we're putting out some really good content, having on some amazing people. So we're hoping you guys enjoy that. And make sure each of these guests that we get on, we really appreciate them coming on because this ain't something that we're paying them for. But you guys should definitely follow along with, one, the information they're putting out, and two, their social medias. So every time we have someone on, we put their information to their socials in the description. If you guys aren't following them, if you're active on social media, go ahead and follow them and to support their brand, because that's how they get paid. That's how they make a living. And I guess while you're at it, follow us too, because we're trying to make this more of a living than it is already. And we love the hell out of this crap. We really do.
So much fun. And we can never thank our fans and followers and listeners enough. So thank you always.
Yeah, and in stride with, like I said in the introduction, we couldn't really do this without, I take that back. To be completely honest, we could totally do this without our show partners, but they make it a whole lot easier. So we appreciate them a hell of a lot too. We appreciate all of you. And I think, Andrew, that's going to do it for tonight. And we're going to wrap it up here. And folks, we will see you on Friday with Wes Logan.